let's go to our MVP race and sixth man of the year discussion. Alrighty, let's get back on track on this. We haven't really updated our MVP race in a week and a half, but this is kind of where we left it off. James Harden at 1, Joel Embiid at 2, Damian Lillard at 3. We took all their kind of stats of what they're doing this season, and then we looked at kind of their strength of schedule and counted out some quality wins, which I think we classified it as the top 6 teams in the East and the West, and that's how we got to Harden at 1, Joel Embiid at 2, and Damian Lillard at 3. That was the last of kind of where we left off on our MVP discussion. Now, what we're going to do and how we're going to kind of round out this last half of the back half of the season here with our MVP race and what we're going to do for the sixth man once we're done with the MVP today. We're going to judge all their performances on individual bases for the rest of the games. We're going to update this every single day now, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to be ranking the game performances for the rest of the season on a -5 to +5 point scale, and whoever has the most points come the end of the season, that's how we're going to decide who should be the MVP in our eyes. Now, you get 2 points for a win. If your team wins, you automatically get 2 points, and then we'll start kind of critiquing how you looked compared against your opponents, how you fared with the rest of your team. Were you the reason why you won it? Did you hit the game-winning shot? And based off of that, we'll start moving you, closer to 5 points or more towards the -5 points. So you get the win, you get 2 points, you perform very well, we'll start moving you up maybe 3, 4, or 5 points for that game alone, and that's how we're going to go. You lose the game, you get -2 points, and then we'll start to, you played very well, maybe you just didn't hit that buzzer beater, so maybe we can give you a -1, maybe even a 0, or maybe, maybe they dropped 50 points and 10 rebounds and 12 assists and they lost by like 1. Maybe we can even give them a +1 for that performance. So that's how we're going to judge it throughout the rest of the season. That's how our kind of point system is going to work here. But before we start dishing out points for what just happened last night in the NBA, let's kind of get our solid MVP rankings here. So we are going to have to move Joel Embiid down a little bit here because he's been out for these last couple of games here. So we are going to substitute Damian Lillard in for that number 2 seed. We're still keeping James Harden at number 1. He has missed the last couple of games as well. I think the last 2 games, but we're going to kind of write that off. We'll let that slide. Joel Embiid has missed, I think, the last 7 games. He is coming back tonight, so he can kind of, work his way back up here in the MVP race ladder. But let's put Joel Embiid down here at number 3. And then we are also going to add some other players up here. We're going to put Giannis here into the mix at number 4. And Jokic into the mix here at number 5. Now, Jokic is definitely going to have a tough climb out here to get to that MVP just because they brought in Aaron Gordon, and so far he's kind of splitting his production with Aaron Gordon. Now it's leading to the wins, which is great. That's all we want to see. I mean, I'm sure Jokic wants to win over getting the MVP, but it is going to make his kind of climb a little bit larger here. So, since this is kind of what our final MVP race is going to be until we start adding all these extra points, let's start off these players with some points. We're going to give James Harden 5 points here off the rip since he's number 1 and there's 5 players. That means we'll give Damian Lillard 4 points off the rip right here. Kind of starting here in our newfound MVP race point system that we kind of want to, this is kind of how we want to talk about the MVP race coming in the back half of the season. So we'll give Joel Embiid 3 points here. We'll give Giannis 2 points. And we'll give Jokic one little measly point here. Alrighty. So this is kind of our, starting points, but we just had NBA on last night, and we had some players playing in our MVP race, so let's kind of start implementing our point system here to our NBA MVP race. So last night, Giannis and Damian Lillard faced off head-to-head, and not great for Damian Lillard, who, in our opinion, is a little bit of a clear front-runner over Giannis. So let's start here. James Harden into play, so let's we won't start with him. We'll start here with Damian Lillard. Alrighty. Well, he gets a loss. So we got to start giving him -2 points right off the rip. Now, How did he fare for the rest of his team? He led his team in points, but also led his team in the plus minus at a minus 27. So the defense wasn't there on the floor. His offense production was, Damian Lillard's was. The bench was very, very lackluster here for the Blazers. A kind of a key reason why this team was off. Nurkic also, not being able to kind of handle the beef of Giannis. Same thing with kind of Robert Covington not being able to kind of handle what Giannis did last night. So we are going to give Damian Lillard -2 for the loss. And I think we're gonna give him maybe a +1 for his production here out on the floor. 32 points, 3 steals, 5 assists, 4 rebounds overall on 52% shooting and 5 of 10 for 3. Overall, it was a decent kind of offensive night from Damian Lillard. Just truly unfortunate that they lost the game. So I think we're going to be subtracting 1 point from Damian Lillard, the -2 for the loss, but a +1 for a decent performance overall. So we'll give him, but that plus-minus, though, maybe we should just keep it at -2. That -27 on the floor, man. 27 points in only a, what do we got here? An 18-point loss. So, actually, we are going to keep it -2 for Damian Lillard, folks. We're going to keep it a -2 for Damian Lillard. So, Damian Lillard had 4 points going into last night's game, but we're going to subtract 2. So, now he is at 2 points here. And we'll rearrange these rankings right at the end. Joel Embiid did not play last night, or the team didn't even play last night. But he's going to start off. Hopefully tonight he plays. If you don't play, we are going to count it as a -3. Let's not mark that as kind of one of our rules here. -3 for not playing. Should we go actually to the extreme of like -4? No, we'll leave it at -3. We'll leave it at -3 for not playing. I mean, folks, you got to start playing some of these games here. We're going to give everybody a fresh start, since this is kind of like the week after the All-Star break, or the week after the trade deadline, where, everybody's kind of, all right, what is our true identity now with these new players? Now that we've lost some players, we've kind of had a week to kind of solidify our matchup, our kind of rotation. So this is kind of where we're starting it right now, these kind of point spreads in these point systems. So Joel Embiid is going to kind of get the benefit of the doubt there of kind of that week stretch of him not playing, that kind of 2-week stretch of him not playing. But we got to see him back in the lineup. If he doesn't play tonight, we're going to give him -3 points. So we'll see what he does tonight, but he should be playing. All right, Giannis did play last night once again, like we said, against head-to-head against Damian Lillard. So Giannis, 2 points for a win, and man, oh man, this production out here, 47 points, 12 rebounds, 85% shooting, a huge reason why the Bucks won this game, a +17 on the floor, a true disruptor, and like we said, that 47-point performance, I mean, what more could we want from this man? So we're going to give him the +2 for the win, and I think we're going to give him 2 points there for that great old performance that he had. So a total of 4 points for Giannis, a +4 out of a potential +5 points for this man. So he had 2 points going in, and now he is at 6 points. So very well done to him. And like we said, also the Nuggets did not play last night. So our new MVP race up to date now. We're going to slide Giannis into the starting spot here. Probably should have started off some of these other players with some more points here, unfortunately. Giannis goes to 1 with 6 points. James Harden drops down to 2 with 4 points. All right, number 3 is still going to stay Joel Embiid with 3 points, and then Damian Lillard falls down to number 4 with only 2 points. All righty, so that's how we are going to leave it here for today. Congratulations for Giannis for getting that MVP spot so far. And we'll see what everybody can do moving on. Alrighty, so our new MVP race, Giannis 1, Harden 2, Joel Embiid 3, Lillard 4, and Jokic at 5. Alrighty, now let's start talking about our NBA Sixth Man of the Year discussion. Now, let's list the players right here. And then we'll order them kind of based on what they do. And then the same thing, we're going to kind of start giving them points like we just did in that MVP race. So here we go. our four kind of nominees here of who we think should be in this race, this discussion so far. Obviously, Jordan Clarkson getting it done for the Jazz, just absolutely magnificent. Great scoring potential out there. So Jordan Clarkson's a potential candidate. We're going to give Thaddeus Young a potential candidate here. Definitely just got to be, I mean, the only problem with Thaddeus Young is that he's on this Bulls team and they're barely winning games. So that's the only knock that we have on Thaddeus Young, but he's getting it done. He just got elevated to that starting lineup. Once again, may affect his kind of status here in the NBA Sixth Man of the Year, but he just had a great game last night, back in the starting rotation, and he's been getting it done consistently off the bench. It's just the Bulls are not winning games. Alrighty, then we're also going to be giving Montrezl Harrell a big old nod here. I love what this man is doing. He's probably besides LeBron James and Anthony Davis, this man is single-handedly the most consistent player besides those two big names for the Lakers. So love Montrezl Harrell here. And then, who I think has been getting kind of maybe a little bit of a snub here in the Sixth Man of the Year category is Tim Hardaway Jr. for the Mavericks. Now, he has played kind of a decent amount of starting rotations for that Mavericks team, but ever since he got knocked down to that bench, he's really been having great, consistent, efficient success off that bench. So I'm going to give Tim Hardaway Jr. a little bit of a nod here in the Sixth Man of the Year category. So here we go. Jordan Clarkson, Thaddeus Young, Montrezl Harrell, and Tim Hardaway Jr. Now we just have to order these a little bit, and then we'll look at give them their points based off their ordering, and then we'll look at what they did last night if they played and judge their performances there. So here we go. Jordan Clarkson is... I did Clarkson. Clarkson. All right, here we go. Jordan Clarkson. All right, what is he doing out here this season off the bench? Here we go. Off the bench, 25 minutes playing off the bench, played all 48 games off the bench, 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. So great scoring and good everything else. That's what we're talking about. So we'll leave him at 1 so far and see if Thaddeus Young is looking a little bit better than him. So let's see what Thaddeus Young is doing out here. All right, Thaddeus Young, he has played 10 games as a starter, but let's talk about the bench first. 33 games coming off the bench, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. That's all coming off the bench. And then these games where he's playing as the starter, 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. So absolutely great production out here. Points, rebounds, assists. He's getting it all done. Maybe a little bit better than Jordan Clarkson overall, who's just kind of front-loading those points a little bit with the 17. The 4 rebounds, the same amount as Thaddeus Young. Thaddeus Young has 2 more, and Thaddeus Young has 4 assists, where Jordan Clarkson's only got, 2 assists out here? So I think, just based off of production, we're going to give Thaddeus Young the nod over Jordan Clarkson here, just for the totality of his game. Also, let's quickly look at their defensive efficiency out here. Just kind of based on 100%, their defensive rating that Basketball Reference gives them. They give Jordan Clarkson a 111 defensive rating, which is basically, points off of 100 possessions. And then Thaddeus Young, what is his defensive rating? 111 as well. So they're both good defensively, maybe even a little bit better for Thaddeus Young when he's in the starting rotation. And then the offensive efficiency, basically, offensive production off of 100 possessions. Thaddeus Young is getting it done a little bit better out here, 120, 115, and Thaddeus Young is still only at 110. So I'm going to give it to Thaddeus Young over Jordan Clarkson. So we'll move Thaddeus Young to 2, Jordan Clarkson at 3. Or 2. All right, then let's go to Montrezl Harrell. How do we think he should be into this mix right here? Montrezl Harrell, here we go. Only started 1 game, but as coming off the bench in 48 games, 15 points, 6 rebounds, basically 7 and 1 assist. So once again, the points are there as well, and that great rebounding potential is also there. We see his defensive rating is 106, so better than Thaddeus Young and Jordan Clarkson, and his offensive rating is 128, better than both Jordan Clarkson and Thaddeus Young. So I think we're going to put Montrezl Harrell here in the leading 6th man of the year. Along with kind of their record right here. The Lakers are 31 wins, 18 losses. The Jazz, obviously 37 wins and 11 losses. So we are going to move Jordan Clarkson we're going to keep Jordan Clarkson at the number 2 just because of their record and move Thaddeus Young down to the 3 because of their record. Like we said, I mean, this Bulls team, very, very lackluster in the winning department. If they start winning more games, we can move Thaddeus Young up a little bit more. But man, oh man, this 19 wins. So yes, it's great production by Thaddeus Young, but overall, just not getting it done, not being enough to win. And I know the Lakers and the Jazz have a better overall team, but still, I mean, wins still play a little bit of a factor. So we'll drop Thaddeus Young down to 2, Jordan Clarkson drop that Thaddeus Young down to 3 and move Jordan Clarkson up to 2, just kind of off of record with kind of combined performance. And then Tim Hardaway Jr., just kind of want to shout him out a little bit. Because like I said, he did play a lot of games. He did play 19 games as a starter, only 27 off the bench. So that's a little bit of a knock on him for 6th man of the year, just because he's been in the starting rotation. But I mean, off the bench, 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, and he's being a lot more efficient off the bench and a lot more consistent off the bench than he was with the starters. And that's really kind of helping them because they need that great scoring off the bench because you got Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis already good to go scoring department wise in the starting rotation. They just were a little lackluster off the bench. So ever since he really kind of made that switch from the starters to the bench, look, his minutes went down, but his production stayed the same. So he's becoming more efficient. So I do kind of want to, we'll leave Tim Hardaway Jr. here at number 4. But I do kind of want to start giving him some nods here and some respect in the 6th man of the year category. Alrighty, so we'll give Montrezl Harrell 4 points here for being number 1. Jordan Clarkson 3 points here for being number 2. Thaddeus Young 2 points for being number 3. And Tim Hardaway Jr. 1 point for being number 4. And then we'll start grading their performances on a game-to-game basis. Alrighty, 2 points for a win. 2 points for a win, and then we'll start judging you based on your performance. Minus 2 points for a loss as well. Once again, judging your performance. If you did bad in the loss, we'll move you closer to the -5. If you did good in the loss, we'll try to move you closer to 0 and maybe even a positive. So here we go. Montrezl Harrell did play last night, so that's 2 points for a win for them. 2 points for a win for Montrezl Harrell, but I mean, nothing really great here. 5 points to 10 rebounds was great, but very, very inefficient shooting wise, only 28%. And that's really uncharacteristic of this man. So we'll leave him at the 2 points there. We won't give him any more points for his production. The 10 points, I maybe was even thinking about moving him down to 1 point, but the 10 rebounds really saved him. So we'll give Montrezl Harrell 2 points out here, moving his total to 6. Jordan Clarkson also did play last night. Where is this Jazz game at? Right here, Jazz Bulls. All right, so what did Jordan Clarkson do? They won, so that's 2 points for him. And then his production, 19 points, 2 rebounds, classic Jordan Clarkson production out here. So we'll leave him at the 2 points there. Nothing really, amazing. If he had, maybe more assists or rebounds, we would have given him an extra point, but we'll give him 2 points out there. So 5 points still for Jordan Clarkson, still in second. Thaddeus Young did play last night. His team lost, unfortunately. He got up into the starting lineup as well, so not the greatest in a loss there. But I believe he did play the best on his team here. So here we go. Thaddeus Young in the starting lineup, 25 points, 3 assists, 7 rebounds, 64% shooting, a +11 in a 7-point loss there, folks. So -2 for a loss, but I'm giving him 2 points for the production to cancel it all out at 0. So we'll still keep Thaddeus Young at only 2 points. And then Tim Hardaway Jr., they played last night. The Mavericks, they ended up beating the Knicks. And Tim Hardaway Jr. here, where are we at? Here off the bench, 14 points, 2 steals, 1 assist, 3 rebounds on efficient shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, 55% overall. And he was the tied for 3rd leading scorer for this team. So we'll keep Tim Hardaway Jr. at the 2 points, and we won't give him an extra one for this performance. It's great. It's good. It's real good. Do we give him one more? Let's keep him at the 2 here for a win. Good, solid win out here for Tim Hardaway Jr. Maybe if he was the 3rd leading scorer. Maybe if he wasn't tied. But still, great production from him off the bench here for Tim Hardaway Jr. 14 points. Do we give him an extra? Do we give him 2 or 3 right here? 2 or 3? Let's give him 2. Let's give him 3, actually. Let's give him 2. We'll keep him at the 2 points there. So that brings him to 3 overall. So we'll move Thaddeus Young down to 2, or down to 4, and Tim Hardaway Jr. up to 3 here. All right. And Tim Hardaway Jr. moves up to 3. Alrighty. So that's how our current MVP voting and Sixth Man of the Year is panning out so far. Giannis just overtook the MVP race with an absolute great game last night against the Blazers. And Montrezl Harrell will be their Sixth Man of the Year currently. And we'll update this every day and see where we are at come the end of the season.